Hi guys, it's Jack from Cool Chess Videos here. Today I'll be going over the fried liver attack in chess, one of the most one of the best attacks in all of chess. And it starts with e4, e5, and then knight to f3. Black responds knight c6. This is a very traditional defending of the pawn on e5 with the knight, and then you play bishop c4. Now, the fried liver is played after knight f6, but you can play the Evans gambit after bishop c5 with bishop taking, pawn up, and then you play for the center with with your two pawns, and you'll try and maybe play for this, kicking the knight out, takes that, just blunders a piece, but it's a very strong, and you have vision everywhere. So that's the okay, so e4, e5, f3, c6. Okay, so now bishop c4 and knight f6 is the fried liver attack. So now, how in this position do you create a threat? Well, there's a check which you can give, but king takes. There's any captures. Well, I take this pawn, that just loses. Any weaknesses in the position? Well, I know from fact that the f7 pawn is weak. So how exactly do you attack it? Is it through a queen move? You can't really move your queen anywhere. Bishop move? Your bishop is already staring down at it, so it can't be. So this move, knight g5, hits the f7 pawn with both pieces. And now, let's say black didn't realize what was happening. Then you would take the pawn on f7, and black can't be captured with the king because the knight is defended by the bishop. So after queen e7, capturing with the rook, and white is just up 6 points of material. So that's what happens if black doesn't really see what's happening. But if they do, they'll play d5, which is a good move. It stops white's progress, because if you take with the bishop, opening up this again, well then the knight just takes back, and after pawn takes, queen takes, black is fine. Apart from this sort of tempo issue, well, white just goes back, and they're really fine. This knight is hit because this knight is no longer here, and we'll just have a game of chess. But instead of taking with the bishop, we take with the pawn. And I'll go over the most annoying response to this after, because what I don't like to see is this knight to a5 move, which I'll go over now. So if you see knight to a5 on this move, then you have two responses. So the first one is to slide your bishop back and to open up your rook on the file. And your second response is to support the bishop and argue that this clump of pawns over here, your clump of pawns over here, is strong, and it's worth it for this knight bishop trade. So if you see knight a5, then you play this, takes, then you argue that this clump in the center is strong. But what if they don't do that? What if they play knight takes back? That looks like a good move. It's defended by the queen, so you can't take back. So now how do you create an attack? So you can take this, but that surely doesn't work, does it? Actually, that's the move in the fried liver attack. You take the f7 pawn, forcing a response from black, because if the king doesn't move, then you're going to take the queen or the rook. So the king has to take, otherwise white just wins on the spot. And then, what checks are there? What kind of captures, attacks, what forcing moves are there? There's bishop f3, the queen f3, sorry, attacks the king. There's queen h5, which attacks the king, but that just gets parried by the pawn. Yep, so indeed, our move is queen f3, check, and the king has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares to move. Quite a few of them lose, like this queen over here idea. I mean, who plays that? You just get bishop back, check, and then king over, sorry, and then you play for this bishop coming over, and you're basically mating. I mean, can't give you much better than that. Yeah. So that's if that happens. But if, let's say the king doesn't go there. Let's say the king goes back to g8. Now this is actually a horrible blunder, because when we played this queen f3 move, we didn't only give a check and hit the king, we also hit this knight. So that's why we didn't play queen h3, also because it could be parried by pawn, but also because this move over here hits the knight, this queen f3 move. So now the king is away. The king can only move this way. So there's a way you can cut the king off with check. So now the king can only move this way, but because we've taken that whole diagonal from the king, now the king has no moves. So the only move, well, there are two moves. One, you can lose on the spot. Well, it's mate into both ways. So there's queen takes d5, then you play queen takes, and then the only move is bishop out to e6, take the bishop, and that is checkmate. You use this idea of the diagonal mate coming in very, very handy. But now instead, let's say the king goes to e8, back to where it started from. Well, now you can just take this knight for free and your upper pawn. And also, if say black plays this knight before idea, this is a lot of a blind spot, because after a piece takes something, often they don't think where it's going next or what can support it next, because they look at how to attack it. But this is actually mate. This queen f7 idea is actually checkmate. The king has no moves, can't take this because the bishop defends, and even though this bishop can be taken, it still serves the defense of the queen. So let's say instead of going back there, the king comes to defend the knight, because before it could just be taken for free, but now this king is here, it can't. So now what you do is you put pressure on the pin piece, because this knight can't take because it's pinned to the king. So if you put pressure on it, then you can add a threat. So after this move, you can just play this, because even though black can take this with check, and even though black can take your rook, you're still completely winning, because after king back up, you have this, and if they take back, You have d4, sorry. If they take back, you win the queen. Add your checkmating in 3 moves. This is the only move. Take the queen. And you have ideas to check the king. So as the king back up, you can check the king using your let's say you can check the king, and it's mate into with it's king back, and then it's mate on and the king has no moves. So that's the mate with this. That's the move with the king e6. Sorry, that's a common tactic of like swarming the king all over the board. In that, and you're already completely winning, even though black is up 2 points of material. You're just completely winning, and you can castle. Try and play h4, h5, be very aggressive. Yeah. So last of all, I'll show you the mating attack, because I find it like the most satisfying thing about the fried liver. Now queen takes queen, bishop block, the only move. Queen takes bishop, and that's checkmate. It's a beautiful checkmate. Post in the comments if you beat any strong players with it. You probably won't, but if you beat people, tell me in the comments. Like, subscribe, and give me ideas on to what make for my next tutorial video. I'll probably do the London next, but I'm very open to ideas. The London system with the bishop, the d4 bishop c4 idea. But I'm very open to ideas. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be gone now, but I'll see you next time for my next